Hello, Instagram, and hello, LinkedIn. I hope you're well. And it's another Tuesday talk with a new interesting topic: decision making, faster decision making, of course. Who are you talking to? It's Shireen, and she's always about doing things a little bit faster, but not in rush. So, as you can see, I'm back in Sydney and in my usual place after a month of being in Bali and in Europe, which was amazing. But coming back home, it's wonderful. Sydney is beautiful, it's warm, and it's Halloween. So, happy Halloween as well. Normally, when I have lives, I put my dog with neighbors or in another part of the house. But right now, neighbors and kids are everywhere around my house. So there's no point. At any time during this life, anything can happen. And I'm just going to go with the flow, and it's Halloween. So hopefully, it will be an amazing experience for me, kids, the dog, and for you, wherever you are. It's fascinating to see when you commit to something for a long time. You say every Tuesday, live, 6 p.m. Sydney. You can see your life is happening throughout all these events, and always something different is happening. So it's just, yeah, an observation point. So, today I want to talk to you about faster decision making. And the key thing about it, one aspect of it, is to know what types of decision we are going to make. And this is a good investment of your time if you are someone, if you're a leader, a manager, that you need to constantly make a lot of decisions and communicate that. If you are a leader and a senior manager, that you need to delegate some of your decision making points to someone else, because naturally it's going to happen for you. You need to be able to identify those decisions, and you need to be able to identify the type of them and then pass it to someone and make sure that you are comfortable and they are comfortable. And then you would see how, for a period of time, once you pass that decision making authority to them, how it goes, how they operate, and then over a time you'll be more comfortable, and that muscle of delegation gets a lot stronger. This is also a super important skill in daily life, in personal life, in what we do and what we go through in life. So, in my examples, of course, I'm an executive coach, but in my examples, I will bring a lot of non-work related examples to the conversation. So we move the two parts of life parallel, personal and professional. The other type of people that would probably benefit from this conversation are people that they are a little bit slower or hesitant, perhaps, in making decisions. And they go forward and backwards, or they stay on a decision for a long period of time, or once they make a decision, they're not solid about it. They question it, they criticize themselves, and they always are not shaky, but not 100% strong about the decisions that they make. So, hopefully, this conversation will help with those types of feelings and those type of situations. And those are really internal feelings. Not so many people will voice them, but the work that we do in leadership space is always internal. So here we go. If this is the first time that you're joining my lives, I introduce myself. And if it's not the first time, well, welcome back. I'm Shireen. I am an executive and a leadership coach. I specialize in business transformation and business agility. I've worked with over 1,000 senior managers and executives in both very large enterprises and small startup and scale ups. And I always observe how senior managers, the strong ones, the leaders, how they make decisions and how they communicate that. For me, it's a point of judgment. I know you're going to say, oh, Shireen, you're a judgmental person. Of course, we all are. It's just I don't use it for making any discrimination. It's just a point of observation. I was like, okay, this person is strong in decision making. This person is not so strong. So perhaps as part of the work we do, I facilitate decision making and moving things forward faster. So with that, we're going to know about the types of decisions, and there are 4. In my research, there were a lot more than 4 types, and they had different names. But these 4 were the ones that I arrived at, and I thought I will simplify them and stay with these 4. Logical decisions, emotional decisions, consensus-based decisions or group decisions, and intuition, based on intuition decisions. And I'm going to break each one of them and talk about each one. So starting with the one that is logical. All right. And the logical decisions, as we all know them, is the ones that we base on facts and the outcome of them. The question is very clear. The input to that questions are very clear. And we kind of are easier in making those decisions. However, the tricky part. A lot of logical decisions, they are associated with some sort of emotional considerations. Let me give you an example and then we unpack it. Refinancing or changing vendor. Refinancing mortgage is a personal scenario, and changing a vendor from one platform to another is a business example of what we are talking. It's a logical decision. The cost base is high. We know we can get a better deal somewhere else. We know it can change. However, it's not easy because there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. So that's emotion. And there is a sense of loyalty, a feeling of loyalty associated with the vendor or service provider that we have. And that is probably something that I want to call your attention to. That is not a real feeling. I mean, the feeling is real, the emotion is real, but it's not relevant to this decision. So ability to detach emotions from the certain decisions that we need to make in order to clarify that this is a logical decision, we just need to go ahead with it, is a skill that we need to have, we need to gain to be able to move forward. There are so many things so many methods to unpack this. They talk about sunk cost, they talk about opportunity cost, they talk about so many other things. But in context of this conversation, understanding that this is a logical decision-making process, however, identifying there are a couple of emotions attached to this, loyalty, which is a fallacy in case of bank, is identifying that and then separating it will help us to know that, okay, what are the things that we need to do and how we're going to move forward faster and make the decisions and execute that. When it comes to logical decisions, the keywords that I leave you with is biases, because biases are the ones that we are not aware of them, and we tend to see them as logic and fact, but they are not. So when it comes to logical decision making, if you have identified this is a decision that needs to be made, it's just to start looking for where are my potential biases. So that's the logical one. The next one is the emotional one. And emotional one, from its title, is that exactly. I feel I am tired. I feel my relationship requires a bit of attention, so we need to do something about it. I feel I'm not spending enough time with my kids and they're growing fast. I need to slow down about work. These are not so much logic because, well, they're not logical. These are based on an emotional need that you're identifying in yourself. And here's the thing, understanding emotions and understanding what decisions you need to make is a huge part of EQ, emotional intelligence. So just allowing yourself that certain decisions, granting yourself permission that certain decisions don't need to be logical. I just feel this is the need and this is what needs to be done, and we are making that call. We feel this neighborhood is getting really boring or very noisy. We need to move to somewhere quieter. That's just a need. That is emotion. It's not based on finances. It's not based on my retirement plan. It's not based on any of that. It's just based on feeling. Do we grant ourselves permission to make certain decisions in this category? That will give you a level of ease and clarity that, look, I'm not making a logical decision here. I'm making a decision based on emotion. So I make a distinction when I say emotional, I mean decisions based on emotion. And you might grant yourself permission to make those type of decisions. You might not, but I want you to separate them, at least be able to separate them. When it comes to making emotional decisions based on emotion, it could be based on your emotions or people that are important to you, family members as well. And that is also a decision or distinction that you need to make, that these are the loved one around me. It's my parents at a certain age, they need me. My kids, they're growing and they need something different. So these are the ones that they're not just your emotions. They are emotions that is for people that are important around you. Interestingly enough, we do make a lot of decisions based on emotions in the team as well, in the organization. When we, at the beginning of each sprint, when we are planning things, I always know, for example, that after a huge launch, after a major change, team doesn't have emotional capacity for something new again. So after a major change, after a major delivery, after a major hardcore heavy work, the next sprint, emotions are not there. So we will do something different. We don't introduce another heavy type of work. Perhaps we introduce something more of housekeeping, more of documentation, more of ideation, as opposed to just sitting there and just going hard again at the next batch of work. So ability as a manager, as a leader, ability to understand what is the emotion of your team, so then you can prioritize different type of work. It is another type of, it's where this decision making is important. Because logically, we've done great. We have delivered previous batch. Well, let's go hard on the next one. We have the capacity. We are capable. So let's go ahead. But if your EQ is high, you know that every human organization, every live organization goes through the cycles. And if you're just constantly trying to maintain everything at high capacity, that organ will collapse. It won't be able to cope over a period of time. So we will also bring that EQ in planning the work and type of work. So we're still productive. We're not sitting there and fiddling our thumb. No, we're still productive and doing valuable work, but different type of work. Emotional decision. That was that. Next one, consensus. I love this one because I am the one that is always planning things for pubs or outing or group activities. So consensus is a very simple way and it's very known. As a leader, you are responsible to know where are the times that you need to have the team's consensus, when it's logical, when it's your call, when it's someone else's call. All right. And consensus-based decision making or group-based decision making, it's a sensitive one in the team because we have different needs and different views in the team. And it is, I have found this one of the most difficult types because making decisions based on everyone's opinion and input and making sure everyone is on board, I found is one of the hardest one and requires a lot of work to set the scene, making sure everyone is aligned. Excuse me, making sure everyone is aligned and making sure everyone is comfortable with that decision, and not just the decision. Everyone is 100% on board with the execution of that decision. That's the difficult part. There was a case that, so here's the thing, people can agree to a decision even if they are 80% agree with it. But would they give their 100% after that? That is the question. So when we are going with consensus-based decision making, we need to make sure that we get the input. People have different levels of agreement to that. I'm okay with this 50%, the other person 80%. Some people are advocating, so they are 120% agreeing with this move. However, after we move forward, we make the call, whatever it is. After we move forward, everyone puts their 100% in it. It's not that I said I'm okay with it 50%, so I'll put 50%. No. When you are making consensus-based decision, the way we set the scene for the team is important. You can agree to some extent, or you can even disagree, 0% agreement. But once we make a call, everyone is 100% in. And this was one of the most difficult things that I needed to embed in a lot of teams. And up to this day, I am doing the same thing with senior leadership and exec teams, that after we made the call, everyone is all in. That is the meaning of consensus-based decision making. Otherwise, is one person is making the call and others are following. So making that distinction, is it one person making a call and others are following, or is it truly based on group decision? That will help with getting alignment and also making sure that everyone has the buy-in for the whatever the decision is. When it comes to decision making based on a group, I call your attention to people that are quieter and are in a minority. And I learned this one in a very interesting way. I was the one that always was gathering people to go for team meetings, team events, and I noticed we always go to pubs, and the choice, the options for vegetarian food in those pubs are very limited. And yet, half of my team was vegetarian or had special requirements for their diet. And that was the time that I realized even consensus is not enough, because you need to have a little bit more sensitivity to what are the true needs of everyone. And norm is to go to pub on Friday afternoon, but was it the right choice for us? I don't know. So we made some changes there, but I want to bring your attention to minority groups or quieter groups. or quieter people in your group when you are making group decisions. Making sure that everyone is truly heard and the solution and the final call is helpful for everyone and it's match for everyone, that requires a little bit more attention. Last one, decision based on intuition, gut feeling. I wasn't sure if I want to put this one here, but I decided I would want to because we're talking about leadership. And a lot of times when you are in leadership positions, and I'm not talking about guiding and leading a 50,000 company, I'm talking even smaller groups, smaller companies. A lot of times, a lot of decisions that is made in that level, they are decisions that there's not enough logic about them and you don't know your emotions. You just need to do something. And the key distinction between decisions based on emotion and decisions based on intuition, the key thing that I found that just made these two very separate for me, so I can now teach it, is this. Decisions based on intuition are based on a knowing internally that we mostly use a phrase, I don't know why, but I have to do it. Decisions that are based on intuition, based on the gut feeling, are decisions that they've been there for a very long time for you. They are not something impulsive. They're not something that you can say, oh, I feel sad or I feel lonely or I feel the need for my connection. I don't, that you can't really articulate a specific feeling. Just say, I know this needs to be done. It's been always with me. There's a knowing associated with that. And normally there's an element of time. I've always felt that way. I've always wanted to do that. I've always been feeling it. So the phrase always and the feeling of knowing without being able to articulate A, B, C, D, that makes a distinction between decisions that are based on the gut feel, intuition, versus the ones that are emotional. So knowing these four categories as a leader are important because at a point of time, you need to know what decisions you are making, who you want to be, how you want to move forward. And this is exactly what we do in one of my program, which is Executive Elevate. In the part, it has 5 parts. And the part of it that is about leadership identity, we define who we want to be. We define who, so this is the part define is where you make a lot of decisions about who you want to be, how you want to conduct yourself, what you want to stand for, what is your true purpose, your why. And these are really inner work. Like you hardly walk around in the office and say, hey, by the way, this is my purpose in life. No, that's not how we operate in the office. But the work that we do in that space about leadership identity will come up when you are making other decisions, you are having other conversations with your team members that shows you have done the inner work, and people will realize, oh, so here it's not just about managing this portfolio of work or delivering this product. It's about something a little bit deeper and more meaningful. And that's where your hard work will show itself when you are doing something which seemingly is irrelevant, but suddenly it will get connected. And that's the time that you are moved from a manager to a leader. Those are subtle differences. A good manager is a person that will manage this. Like we're moving these things from this side to this side. This is the timeline. This is the line items, this is the weight, this is like, there's a specificity around it. And there are a lot of good managers. But the work I do, the work that I'm interested in, moving managers to leaders. And for that, you need different types of understanding and knowing, and you are able to articulate same thing in a different way. And that's where you move from a manager to a leader, and suddenly and naturally you become a better and obvious choice for leadership roles and higher level roles. So I started this conversation with talking about who would benefit from this conversation, decision-making models. So I'm going to close the loop and make an invitation. People, senior managers, that they are on a certain level and they are planning to go higher levels. The work that I do in Executive Elevate program is exactly for that. If you want to go higher, land higher profile roles, definitely DM me. And there are some really interesting works that can be done that in a very short period of time, you will be surprised. You will be surprised at how in less than 3 months, you will be able to move from a manager, a seasoned practitioner, to a leader by doing some different types of work. And you would see a noticeable difference in a way that you lead yourself, in a way that you lead your team. So if you are targeting higher profile roles, and I don't mean necessarily higher paying jobs, I mean truly higher profile roles that you can make better and longer lasting decisions, definitely DM me and we will start the work there. If you are one of the managers that's been doing a really good job and you have been unseen, you've been promised promotion, but you haven't got the promotion that you've been promised, you've been, kind of kept waiting for a while, but your work is good and the reviews and feedback are all great. Again, Executive Elevate program is definitely something that can help you and just break that barrier and move you to the higher position roles. And it's the type of work that you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how small changes will make huge difference in your presence in the office and also in life. Yeah, because we are one person. Once we sort out one type of thing, we bring the knowing and understanding and experience from one side to another aspect of life. And it's something that I hear quite frequently from my clients. They say, Shane, I thought I'm going to work on my job, but my relationship with my kids has improved. And I'm like, oh, it's fascinating. But you just have improved the way you are and refined yourself. So, of course, everyone around you will get the benefits, including your puppy. All right, let me close the loop. The 3 types of people that they would benefit from this this conversation: leaders that they need to delegate, leaders that they make a lot of decisions, and people that they go back on decisions quite often, that they question it. Knowing what type of decisions you are making, granting yourself permission to make a logical decision, make a decision based on emotions, make a decision based on group view, and make a decision based on your intuition will bring clarity to you and give you a permission that I really want to make decisions based on one of these types. Good, simple. And then what happens after that is a different conversation. But today it was just know which one it is. So then you won't question yourself. We talked about Elevate program, a 5-dimensional program that one of its dimensions is about leadership identity. And that's where you make a lot of decisions about yourself, who you want to be, and how you want to lead your team and your organization and yourself. Please DM me if you are interested in this one. I will promise to you it will be fun. I'll be gentle. All right. I think that's all I had prepared for today. If you have any questions, or if you have different views or different observations about decision making, I would love to hear them from you. It's one of my favorite topics. In fact, I think in the coming weeks, I will talk about impulse decision making and fast decision making, and I make a distinction between them. I'm researching that at the moment because there's a difference between being a fast decision maker and solid decision maker and impulsive decision maker. So yeah, stay tuned. Another Tuesday. I'll see you next week, same time, same place, and hopefully more people. Wonderful. Have a lovely day and evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you soon. Bye.